Welcome to the BS Banking Show, Manoj. Good to have you. How does the MFI sector look at this stage with talks of enhanced stress and weak rural demand?
Yeah, so Raghu, as I mentioned earlier, the microfinance industry operates in a slightly different space. As you know, the segment is defined as households with annual household income of less than 3 lakhs per year. And to that extent, given the new underwriting norms, given the new income limits, given the fact that we cannot leverage the family more than 50%, all of us are today far more rigorous in terms of the credit assessment which is done before we give the loan. And as you know, there's a very strong credit bureau discipline with 4 credit bureaus tracking each loan that the customer has taken from any RBI regulated institution. So to that extent, I would say that lending has become far more conservative given the annual household income assessment and not leveraging the family more than 50%, apart from all the ground level checks which are done before the loan is given. We do see a slight uptick in terms of the delinquency, but that is something which I think is the after effect of what has happened in the COVID pandemic. So to that extent, the new portfolio which is being written after wave 3 is actually performing better than or equal to what it used to be pre-COVID. But definitely caution in terms of the underwriting norms and the fact that we need to be far more careful, given the fact that while this is a group lending, it is essentially unsecured from that perspective.
RBI has red flagged its concerns on unsecured lending. How does that play out in the MFI space?
Well, the good part, Raghu, there is that if you read the announcement, it is bank loans to NBFCs which do unsecured lending, which essentially has come under an additional risk weight on the capital adequacy. Now, 2 particular entities have actually been exempted there. One is MFIs, which is people like us, and second is housing finance companies. So given the fact that both of these 2 are priority sectors in terms of lending, the RBI is very keen that fund flow to this particular sector is not constrained. And to that extent, I would say that we are lucky that we have been exempted from this particular additional risk weight. So we do not expect any change in the interest to lend to us. And needless to add, each one of us negotiates the price at which we borrow, because that is an important ingredient to the final pricing that we charge to the customer.
Many political parties in recent times, now that the poll season is on us, have raised the issue of loan waivers. Is that a cause for concern?
So Raghu, elections in our country keep coming and going. So we have state elections, we have corporate elections, we've got national elections, and to that extent, all of us, I would say, have understood the ways to sort of manage the entire process. The good thing, Raghu, is that not a single political party, even in the state elections or the city elections, has ever spoken about waiving microfinance loans. Right? There is a lot of chatter, a lot of noise, a lot of buzz around the agri loans, because those are the sectors which essentially go through a little bit of stress. And to that extent, customers who've taken those loans need either interest subsidy, maybe a partial relief in terms of interest, or in some extreme cases, maybe even waiving off the agri loans. So to that extent, the clientele today is fairly, I would say, intelligent in terms of understanding that the waivers are limited to the farm loans and not really any other personal loan or vehicle loan or MFI loan that you've taken. So to that extent, our pitch, and we ensure that all the center meetings essentially clarify this point back to customers in the center format, explaining to them very clearly that the credit record at the end of the day is their responsibility. And if they do not pay, it's going to show up in the credit bureau record. And once they pass 90 days, you essentially become a non-performing asset where no formally regulated institution will essentially give you a loan. So that's the way we manage. One is the additional communication and clarification to the customers to say these are agri loans, not really microfinance.
How do you view the Telangana HC order on MFIs?
Very, very positive. I would say, Raghu, that is really, it's really been a case that the sector has been engaged with the judiciary right from 2010, when the AP ordinance got converted to an AP Act. And I'm very happy to sort of inform all of you that not only did we win the case, but in a separate ruling in the Supreme Court, where one of our group associations had actually filed a case, between a customer and an NBFC and an issue similar to what we have gone through in Andhra. The Supreme Court has been very, very clear in terms of its ruling to say any body corporate which is licensed by the RBI either as a bank or a non-bank essentially will come under the RBI, and we cannot have dual regulation. So if you're under RBI, RBI will frame the rules and regulations. And if you've been licensed by the state government, which essentially means a society, a trust, or a, let's say, a cooperative, then whoever is licensed essentially will regulate. You can't have cross-regulation. So the question there was that what do you do then if there is an issue with an RBI regulated institution that a state wants to flag off? So again, the Supreme Court has been clear there to say you need to write to the RBI to say these are the instances where we found that this particular entity has violated some norms, whether it is on responsible lending, collection practices, recovery practices, and to that extent, then the RBI will do the needful investigating and taking the right action. So state laws do not apply on RBI regulated institutions. Similarly, RBI laws do not apply on state regulated institutions. That's a very, very clear judgment now, and we are very happy, I would say, that investors at large, lenders, practitioners like us are very, very thankful to the Honorable Supreme Court in clarifying this once for all. And a lot of support here has come from the RBI as well, where we've tried to explain to them that we cannot have dual regulation where it then becomes completely complicated and you don't know then whom to essentially listen. So we're very happy that that particular issue is now being laid to rest. The Money Lending Act, which is what most of the states essentially used to invoke, does not apply on RBI regulated lenders, which is banks and non-banks.
Now, before we let you go, can you give us an overview on your digital lending pilot?
Yeah. So, Raghu, our digital lending exercise essentially seeks to reward very experienced and credible microfinance customers by giving them a very different experience. So I would say it's a combo of a privileged banking kind of experience for very experienced, credible, regular microfinance customers while giving them a taste of a fintech lending model. So what happens here is essentially is that we are telling the customer that you have created and established your credibility. You should focus on your business and leave your credit requirements to us. So it's a completely seamless, paperless, cashless, low-touch model where I'm essentially telling the customer that you have created a record for yourself. You do not need to come to the center. You can do everything, including applying for a loan, repaying, and renewal of a loan through the Arohan app, which is there. And we give you the respect to essentially you focus on your business. Giving you credit is our job. And this customer, Raghu, gets the lowest rate of interest. She gets cashback points for the right behavior of paying on time, which she can exchange against the processing fees or the other charges that she has to pay when she takes a new loan. And I'm very happy to tell you that that portfolio now, which is about a year plus, right, essentially is close to about 100 crores. We service about 20,000 customers on that particular platform today. And the delinquencies there essentially have been far lesser than what our overall portfolio essentially has. So our aim really on that is to make geography history, which is that even if in a state like Kerala, which is my home state, where we do not have a branch, if there's a good customer with a good credit record, she goes through, the downloads the Arohan app, she applies for a loan. If she passes through our credit norms and our credit scoring model, we would give her a loan, e-sign the documents, credit the money into her account in less than 10 minutes flat, and then essentially ensure that she gets reminder calls and messages to pay. She misses a payment, we call her. She misses 2 payments, a collection agency will go and visit her. So I'm then essentially moving away from the physical branch infrastructure which is created and giving these kind of privilege benefits to customers who have established their credibility and giving them a completely new experience which they've never been used to. You are aware, Raghu, that even today some of our biggest lenders, right? I mean, obviously I don't fully respect their policies, but they still insist that a customer come to a center every week. They still insist that the customer comes and pays cash at the center, whereas we believe it's now time to treat customers differently based on whether it's a new to credit customer, a new customer who's going through the first 2-3 cycles, or a customer who's 5 cycle plus, who's established her credibility where she needs a different product and service to respect the credibility that she's built.
Manoj, thank you for taking your time out to be on our show. We look forward to having you sometime down the line.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.
I am the blue of the limitless sky. I am the inspiration that led success soar high. I will achieve, I will fly high. I am the I in SBI.
I'm backed by the nation's trusted bank, SBI, the banker to every Indian.